In 1995, a young medical student named Amy Cuddy was in a devastating car accident that left her with a traumatic brain injury. Doctors told her she'd lost 30 IQ points and would never finish her studies, but Cuddy had a different plan. She decided to fake it until she made it, literally rewiring her brain through the power of thought. Today, she's a Harvard Business School professor whose TED Talk has been viewed over 27 million times. This isn't just an inspiring story, it's proof of one of the most powerful truths in human psychology. What you think, you become. And the science behind why this happens will blow your mind. Your brain contains approximately 86 billion neurons, each forming thousands of connections. Every thought you have creates a neural pathway. And here's the incredible part. The more you think a particular thought, the stronger that pathway becomes. It's like walking through a forest. The first time, you're pushing through thick brush. But take that same path repeatedly, and soon you've created a highway. Dr. Norman Doidge, a psychiatrist and researcher, discovered something revolutionary while studying neuroplasticity. He found that our brains are constantly rewiring themselves based on our thoughts and experiences. When you repeatedly think, "I'm not good enough," you're literally strengthening the neural networks that support that belief. But when you think, "I'm capable and growing," you're building entirely different pathways. This isn't positive thinking fluff. It's measurable brain science. fMRI scans show that people who practice mindfulness for just 8 weeks develop increased gray matter in areas associated with learning and memory, while simultaneously reducing activity in the amygdala, the brain's fear center. But here's where it gets really interesting. Your thoughts don't just change your brain, they change your behavior, and your behavior changes your reality. Psychologist Martin Seligman, a pioneer in positive psychology, has extensively studied the impact of optimism on well-being. His work and related research suggests that individuals with a consistently optimistic outlook tend to enjoy better health, greater resilience, and improved life outcomes. For example, a Mayo Clinic study found that optimists live 7 to 10 years longer on average than pessimists. Other studies have linked optimism to a lower risk of heart disease and enhanced job performance, though exact figures may vary. The broader scientific research supports the idea that optimism contributes significantly to a healthier, longer, and more successful life. The mechanism is surprisingly simple. When you think positive thoughts about your abilities, your brain releases dopamine and serotonin, chemicals that enhance focus, creativity, and motivation. This biochemical boost makes you more likely to take action, persist through challenges, and notice opportunities others miss. Carol Dweck, a Stanford psychologist, proved this with her famous growth mindset research. She studied thousands of students and found that those who believed their intelligence could be developed literally just thinking they could get smarter scored significantly higher on tests than students who believed intelligence was fixed. The difference? Pure thought patterns. In one experiment, she gave 2 groups of students the same challenging math problems. One group was told, "This test measures your natural intelligence." The other was told, "This test is a chance to learn and grow." The second group outperformed the first by 25%. Same students, same problems, different thoughts about what the test meant. Your thoughts create what psychologists call a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you think you're going to fail, you unconsciously engage in behaviors that lead to failure. You procrastinate, make excuses, or don't prepare properly. When you think you're going to succeed, you do the opposite. You prepare thoroughly, stay persistent, and interpret setbacks as learning opportunities rather than evidence of your inadequacy. Robert Rosenthal demonstrated this with his famous bloomers study. He told teachers that certain students were intellectual bloomers who would show remarkable growth that year. In reality, these students were chosen completely at random. By the end of the year, these randomly selected students had gained 15 to 27 IQ points more than their classmates. The teachers' expectations, their thoughts about these students, literally changed the students' performance. But here's the most powerful part. Your thoughts don't just influence your own behavior, they influence how others treat you. Harvard researcher Amy Cuddy, yes, the same woman from our opening story, discovered that when people adopt powerful thoughts and postures for just 2 minutes, their testosterone increases by 20% and their cortisol decreases by 25%. This hormonal shift makes them more confident, which others perceive and respond to positively. The ripple effect is extraordinary. Better thoughts lead to better biochemistry, which leads to better behavior, which leads to better results, which reinforces better thoughts. It's a positive feedback loop that can transform your entire life. Dr. Joe Dispenza, a neuroscientist who studies the intersection of thought and reality, explains it this way: when you think from your past, you create more of your past. When you think from your future, you create your future. He's worked with thousands of people who've used directed thinking to overcome chronic illnesses, depression, and limiting beliefs. One of his students, Anna Holtzman, was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis at age 29. Instead of accepting the progressive deterioration doctors predicted, she spent 6 months rewiring her thoughts, visualizing perfect health, and feeling grateful for her healing before it happened. Her MRI scans now show no signs of MS. Her thoughts literally rewired her brain and, according to her medical team, her body. The science backs this up. Dr. Richie Davidson at the University of Wisconsin found that people who practice loving-kindness meditation, essentially thinking compassionate thoughts about themselves and others, show increased activity in brain regions associated with empathy and emotional processing after just 2 weeks. Their brains physically changed. But transformation isn't just about positive thinking. It's about conscious thinking. Most people think 60,000 to 70,000 thoughts per day, and 95% of them are exactly the same thoughts they had yesterday. You're literally thinking yourself into the same life over and over again. Sean Ashore, a Harvard researcher, found that people who write down 3 things they're grateful for every day for 21 days experience measurable increases in optimism that last 6 months. This simple thought practice rewires the brain to notice positive patterns instead of negative ones. The transformation process has 4 stages. First, awareness. You must notice your current thought patterns. Second, disruption. You must consciously interrupt negative thoughts. Third, replacement. You must substitute empowering thoughts. Fourth, repetition. You must do this consistently until new neural pathways become automatic. Dr. Maxwell Maltz, a plastic surgeon, noticed something fascinating about his patients. Those who expected to feel more confident after surgery often did, while those who expected to feel the same usually remained unchanged despite their physical transformation. This led him to develop psycho-cybernetics, the idea that your mind is like a guidance system that moves you toward whatever you're thinking about most. Your thoughts are creating your tomorrow right now. Neuroscientist Dr. Daniel Amen has scanned over 100,000 brains and found that people who regularly practice positive thinking show increased activity in the prefrontal cortex, the brain region responsible for executive function, decision-making, and goal achievement. Maya Angelou once said, "If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude." Science now shows us that changing your attitude, your thoughts, changes everything else. Your thoughts are not just random mental events. They're the architects of your reality, the sculptors of your future, and the authors of your story. The question isn't whether your thoughts shape your life. They do. The question is whether you're going to take control of that process or let it happen unconsciously. Every thought is a choice. Every choice is a step toward the person you're becoming. What you think, you become. The science is clear, the evidence is overwhelming, and the choice is yours.